Where did you?
He said something very interesting, which he hasn't said in a very long time, since December, where he hopes RBG gets better or well very soon. And it seems to me that he might be projecting right now. And we're going to be talking about that in just a minute. But first, I wanted to start off with Senator Lindsey Graham. He wrote a letter to the FBI Director, Christopher Wray, requesting a briefing on the FBI conduct during the raid and arrest of Roger Stone. And he wrote this letter to the FBI wanting an explanation on why they did this in that way. And he's asking the following questions. Why was it necessary to arrest Mr. Stone at his home in early morning hours rather than working through his attorneys to permit him to surrender voluntarily? Why was the manner of Mr. Stone's arrest consistent with the arrest of and procedures for the arrest of similarly charged individuals? So right now, Lindsey Graham wants some answers. Why was this done this way? Now, it looks like a federal judge in Florida ordered the public release of dozens of documents kept under seal during BuzzFeed's lawsuit over the Steele dossier. District Court Judge Ursula Ungaro ordered the documents be made public by February 8th. More than 40 records used in the case are listed in the order. Ungaro's decision will shed light into the discovery process during the defamation case, which included depositions with dossier author Christopher Steele and the founders of Fusion GPS, the opposition research firm that hired Steele. So we'll have to wait to see what these documents and what they have in them and what it tells us. So it looks like they're ordered to do this by February 8th. Let's see what BuzzFeed does. Now, it looks like within the Mueller team, there's another investigator that comes under scrutiny right now, and this is Jeannie Reed. She is a former Justice Department lawyer who joined Special Counsel Robert Mueller's team. She has also previously represented the Clinton Foundation in the past. She was a partner at Wilmer Hale Law Firm. She represented former Obama Security Advisor Ben Rhodes. And we can see right now that she is on the team. Now, you can see there's a conflict of interest here, and there are problems with Mueller's team from the beginning. But, of course, we know this is what they've done, and they've done it on purpose. And they placed certain individuals on his team. And Republican lawmakers, they are putting Mueller and his team under the microscope. House Judiciary Committee Chairman Robert Goodlatte held a hearing with FBI Director Christopher Wray, and he brought up this issue, and they want more information on this. But we know why the deep state did this. We know why they placed Mueller there, to block everything that Trump is trying to do. They knew eventually that Trump was going to order a declassification. They wanted Mueller there so they could block it and say he's interfering with the investigation. But Mueller has his own problems because he's involved in the Uranium One deal. So he's there trying to save himself. Because as we know, he met with Trump beforehand, and we know it wasn't to take on the FBI director position because he wasn't allowed to, because he served too many years in that position. So the question always comes back to, why did he meet with Trump? And I think we know why. Now, Trump, he's going to be nominating 3 judges to the liberal Ninth Circuit Court. And he intends to nominate Daniel Bress, Daniel Collins, Kenneth Lee to the San Francisco Appeals Court, which is going to pose a problem for the deep state operatives that control that court. And you can see what Trump is doing. He is placing individuals in all these different areas to start to take control, one step at a time. Remember, the deep state has been in control for a very long time. Trump has been in office a little over 2 years. But Trump and the Patriots, they are pushing hard, and they are working very, very quickly to put everything in place. Now, Trump said that more U.S. troops are being deployed to the southern border, but argued that, yes, we need a wall. He tweeted out, more troops being sent to the southern border to stop the attempted invasion of illegals through large caravans into our country. We have stopped the previous caravans, and we will stop these also. With a wall, it would be so much easier and less expensive. Being built. Now, A lot of people are out there saying, well, look, we're able to stop these caravans without the wall. Yes, but we need to remember, Trump is continually spending a lot more money bringing down the troops to keep these individuals back. It would be less money if we had the wall and we let the border security do their job. It would be an easier job for them. So, yes, he needs to bring the troops down there every single time we see these caravans moving up to the borders. And they need to put up these makeshift walls with barbed wire and everything else to keep them back. So that argument is kind of out the window, that everyone is trying to say, well, we don't have walls now, and look, we're keeping them back. Well, that's because we have troops down there. Trump continued with his tweeting. Large sections of wall have already been built, with much more either under construction or ready to go. Renovation of existing walls is also a very big part of the plan to finally, after many decades, properly secure our borders. The wall is getting done one way or the other. Republicans on the Homeland Security Committee are wasting their time. Democrats, despite all the evidence proving caravans coming, are not going to give money to build the desperately needed wall. I've got you covered. Wall is already being built. I don't expect much help. Now, the mainstream media and the deep state, they are continually using all these different words for the wall. It's a fence. It's a slotted fence. It's just a makeshift barrier. It's not really this. It's not that. And they're doing this to confuse the public. So when they have to give or they have to explain why this was built, they can say, well, it's not really a wall. It's a fence. And we always said no to the wall. But what they did was they built a fence. So Trump said, let's just call them walls from now on and stop playing political games. A wall is a wall. Now, if we put steel slots that are 20, 30 feet high along the border and nobody can get through, it's a wall. It keeps people back. It doesn't matter if it's concrete. It doesn't matter if it's solid steel. It doesn't matter. It's a wall that keeps these individuals back. And we can see that the deep state, the Dems, they're trying to wordplay and make it seem like, oh no, we didn't agree to the wall. You see, we never gave in. And you could see why we need the wall. Night cameras, they spotted illegals trying to get into the country. This was tweeted out by CBP Arizona. Camera operatives observed a group of 123 illegals crossing the vehicle barriers near Yuma last Friday. And they're continually apprehending 100 to 200 Central Americans per day. It'd be a lot easier if there was a wall. It would be a lot harder for them to get over the wall. But we know the wall is just not to keep the illegals out. It's to stop the deep state, drug running, human trafficking, and the rest, because we know they use these funds. They make their money by having this all come over the border, and they understand that if a wall is built, guess what? Their funding is cut off, and they know this. Now, the clock is ticking down on the amount of time Congress has left to come up with a deal, and so far, it's not going well. Mark Meadows tweets out, Democrats insisted for a month they were ready to negotiate on border security when government reopened. It's been nearly a week, and we have yet to see even one Dem compromise counteroffer to the multiple proposals from POTUS. This is not a negotiation. One side isn't negotiating. Now, if you've been following me for quite a while, we all understand how the deep state operates. They are like the Sith in Star Wars. They only see black and white. They don't see the gray area. And what they do is you either do it our way or that's it. We've seen it in Syria. We've seen it in Ukraine. We've seen it in Iraq. We've seen it in Lebanon. Why do you think we had wars there? Why do you think we had regime change there? Because they said either you do it this way or that's it. There was no negotiation. So Mark Meadows continues. Amazing. Hardly 24 hours into conference talks, and Speaker Pelosi announces no wall money in a bill. This is a total and open refusal to even negotiate on something fundamental to secure borders. Stop pretending Democrats are negotiating. Democrats aren't even pretending. But we have to remember, Trump really holds all the cards, and Bill Mitchell explains. at Speaker Pelosi could have gotten a good deal for Dreamers in exchange for the wall, but no, her pride came first. Actually, her other agenda came first. Trump will get his wall, and Nancy's base will get jack squat. Proud of your great leader, now Democrats? Think about what was offered for the wall. If there is no deal, Pelosi and team will get nothing, and Trump will build the wall. Nancy Pelosi said that there is no money for the wall. She's on a different agenda, and we all know what that is. But we also need to remember something very important. People are starting to wake up, and they're starting to realize that Nancy Pelosi is not even negotiating. She doesn't care about border security. She doesn't care about helping the American person. She doesn't want to give in on any of these offers that Trump is making. And it seems like she doesn't even care about the Dreamers, as they call them. But if she does fold, they're going to use that wordplay where they gave in, but they didn't give in to the wall. They gave in to a fence or some type of barrier to try to save face. But it's not going to work, because what Trump is going to build, he's going to build a wall. He's not going to build a makeshift barrier. He's not going to make a fence that swings open. It's going to be a wall. Doesn't matter if it's steel slotted. Doesn't matter if it's solid concrete. Doesn't matter if it's solid steel. It's going to be a wall. And there's no way around this. Now, it looks like Macron, he is coming down hard on the yellow vests. And it looks like there's a free speech debate that is brewing in France. And what they're doing right now is they've come up with this anti-hooligan bill, which is expected to secure approval next week. It grants the police greater powers to identify and detain potential troublemakers from demonstrations. So this is an anti-mask bill, and they're saying that people cannot wear masks because they want to identify them with what? Facial recognition. So here we are already. Charles de Courson from the centrist UDI party told Parliament the law was extremely dangerous. He said, "It's as if we're back under the Vichy regime, the Nazi collaborationist regime of the 1940s. You're presumed to be a resistant, so we throw you in prison. Wake up, colleagues. The day you have a different government in power, a far-right government, and you're in opposition, you'll see that it's pure madness to vote for this text." Of course, many of the protesters, they're wearing gas masks to protect themselves from tear gas. They want these masks removed so they can see and identify every single person. You see what's happening here? I know everyone thought, oh, facial recognition is going to be fantastic to stop the criminals. No, it was always developed and was always going to be used for the people. So they can identify and round up those individuals if something like this happens. And we can see it being played out right here. We see there are major protests in Venezuela right now. Trump tweeted out large protests all across Venezuela today against Maduro. The fight for freedom has begun. And we'll have to watch what happens in Venezuela. I do believe that this is a move by Trump and the Patriots, because think about what has been happening in Venezuela for all these years. The deep state has been trying to get in there for a very long time. And if you look, all the European countries, all the deep state actors, they're all out there saying, yes, 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 this is what we want. And it reminds me of Syria once again, when Trump was bombing Syria, giving them what they wanted. Remember, Obama, they wanted him to do this. Trump went ahead and did this and confused them completely. They always wanted to go into Venezuela. They always wanted to have a riot. They always wanted to push Maduro out. So guess what Trump did? Here we go. Let's do it. But again, it's not for the reasons everyone thinks. Now, very interestingly, Saudi Arabia, they confirmed there's $100 billion seized in a corruption crackdown. Remember, in Saudi Arabia, there was a coup, and they overtook the deep state operatives. Now, with the murder of Khashoggi, what the intelligence organizations, the deep state, what they tried to do is they tried to switch this back, but it didn't work. The government right now has summoned 381 people, including witnesses, as part of a crackdown. Settlements were reached with 87 after they confessed to the charges against them. 8 people refused to settle and were referred to prosecutors for further charges. The Attorney General refused to settle with 56 people because of existing criminal charges against them. Seized assets recovered included real estate, companies, and cash. The government believes the crackdown was necessary as the kingdom embarked on a raft of MBS's economic reforms. Now, we need to go back to Q's post. Let's go back to post 83. This is November 4th, 2017, and Q wrote, "Simplified, Alice in Wonderland, Hillary and Saudi Arabia." References: Hillary Clinton in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, Saudi Arabia, The Bloody Wonderland. Post 2049, August 31st, 2018. Q gave us a screenshot of August 15th, 2018, and it says Saudi Arabia access closed to pedophilia, human trafficking, and the rest. And there are many other places that are closed. Epstein Island, Haiti, North Korea, and the rest. So Q, the Patriots, they shut it all down. And we need to go back in time when the coup was happening. Saudi Arabia, they arrested all their corrupt princes. They even downed a helicopter where corrupt officials were trying to escape. Saudis also cut ties with Hillary. Because remember, this is where everything was happening. It was all shut down. And what they're doing right now is cleanup work. Remember, Trump, the Patriots, they are now cleaning up the deep state around the world. Everything that they put into place, that is what they're doing. Now, Q has always told us that we're watching a show. And we are definitely watching a show. But we have to remember this show is scripted and directed by the Patriots. Burn Notice tweeted the following out. Start of the thread. Is anything really happening? For those following U.S. and world politics, it must be accepted that we are in a weird time of civilization. Let me focus just on Trump's tweets. My favorite was Cove Fifi. C-O-V-F-E-F-E. And the mainstream media went crazy over this because they thought he misspelled it. And if you read some of the articles, it says, oh, it comes from a Samoan language, and they were trying to make heads and tails of it. And this is what Trump does to troll the mainstream media. But C-O-V-F-E-F-E is H.R. 2884. It was introduced in the House on 6/12/2017. This is the Communications Over Various Feeds Electronically for Engagement Act of 2017. This bill amends provisions governing presidential records, revise the definition of documentary material to include social media, revise the definition of presidential records to include any personal and official social media account, define social media as any form of electronic communication, such as website for social networking and microblogging, through which users create an online community to share information, ideas, personal messages, and other content. And he did this on purpose. He has been misspelling on purpose, and we know a lot of the misspelling, there are certain codes that we figure out. Let me continue. Trump seems to love to facilitate tremendous ridicule. C-O-V-F-E-F-E was so brilliant because it preserved every tweet as a presidential record. What is funnier is that Cove Fifi Act of 2017 was moved by the Democrats. Trump has nicknames for every villain: Crooked Hillary, Crying Chuck Schumer, Leakin' James Comey, Little Adam Schitt, Pocahontas, Peter Strzok, and his lover. You can add many others if I missed any. Trump has developed a cast that rivals a TV sitcom. To say that nothing is happening is a statement of ignorance. What is happening, however, requires some speculation and hard research. I am very sympathetic to those who still rely on mainstream media to confirm things. This is the Great Awakening, and we are all awake at different times. Trump was very clear going into the election what he was intending to do to those who we call deep state. He is ambiguous and crass now, but he wasn't before he was elected. Now, you need to watch the video that will get him elected. And we've watched that before, and he lays it out. For anyone uncertain about what Trump is all about, the Al Smith dinner speech clarifies everything. This is the greatest, cleverest, and funniest speech ever in the context of a future takedown. Listen carefully to every single word. Must watch. Now, if you want to see this, you can come to the X22 report, scroll down in this report all the way to the bottom, and look for burn notice number 6, and the link is there. But this is a speech that he gave, and he was calling out the Clintons, the Vatican, and everything else, pretty much telling you what he was going to do back then. Number 7, this is the greatest troll speech ever, let alone by a would-be president. His rhythm and presentation is quality stand-up comedy. Watch it and agree. When crowd boos the email scandal reference, Trump says, "I don't know who they're angrier at, Hillary, you, or I." Number 8, Trump goes on mercilessly. 1226, everyone knows, of course, Hillary's belief that it takes a village, which only makes sense, after all, in places like Haiti, where she has taken a number of them. Abuse, thank you. Trump didn't troll like this to do nothing. Number 9, fast forward to now. Trump said he would appoint a special counsel and take down the deep state. Trump is waking people up. How? He's doing it by exposing blockages. He is calling for people to wake him up to fix the judicial system. This shifts consciousness. There is much confusion. Many are unsure about alliances and loyalties and whether Trump is in control. This lures us into judgment of someone without evidence. Do not fall into this trap. Our authority is to accuse the evidence. The more we shout, the more we know. Everyone is still looking to the media to confirm victory. Stop and think about what I just said above. Who are we granting authority to confirm our reality? Reread the above question. This is a life-changing insight. The mainstream media may never confirm our victory. What even defines a victory in this war? There have been so many booms, but still many patriots become restless with a lack of action. POTUS is now fighting our expectations as well as a deep state. Two enemies? Really? So let's change gear and look at the real issues here. We are in the Great Awakening. All else is a distraction. Therefore, we must ask, who informs our reality? Where does your information get its information? Where does your intuition agree with your reality you are being given? What are we awakening into? Do you really know? A new realm of right and wrong. A new ruler over us. A political party that better reflects my beliefs. New colors in the rainbow. Correct theology. Seriously, folks, what is going on here on Earth? And you can see that this entire show is scripted and directed by the patriots. I mean, if you listen to what Burn Notice says, Trump has laid out the cast for us and letting us know what is about to happen. Now, there is so much panic in D.C., and we can see it by the way Brennan is tweeting out. Now, former CIA chief turned Twitter troll John Brennan attacked Trump over the weekend. Trump reacted to Mueller's indictment of Roger Stone and asked what will be done about Comey, Brennan, Clapper, and others for lying to Congress. So this is what Brennan was replying to. If Roger Stone was indicted for lying to Congress, what about lying done by Comey, Brennan, Clapper, Lisa Page, and Lover, Baker, and so many others? What about Hillary to the FBI and her 33,000 deleted emails? What about Lisa and Peter's deleted texts and Weiner's laptop? Much more. So Brennan, he exploded and tweeted out the following. Now, we read this tweet before, but let me just read it again so you can get an idea of where this is all going. Your cabal of unprincipled, unethical, dishonest, and sycophantic cronies is being methodically brought to justice. We all know where this trail leads. If you utter incompetence is not enough to run you out of office, your increasingly obvious political corruption surely will. Then he followed up with this one. Your refusal to accept the unanimous assessment of U.S. intelligence on Iran, North Korea, ISIS, Russia, and so much more shows the extent of your intellectual bankruptcy. All Americans, especially members of Congress, need to understand the danger you pose to our national security. So, as always, Brennan is projecting because he is the one who perjured himself in public testimony about the dossier. And you can see with his emotions running very, very high, he's scared. Now, Paul Sperry, he reported the following, and this is via Real Clear Investigations. In his May 2017 testimony before the intelligence panel, Brennan emphatically denied the dossier factored into the intelligence community's publicly released conclusion last year that Russia meddled in the 2016 election to help Trump chances of victory. Brennan also swore that he did not know who commissioned the anti-Trump research document. Even though senior national security and counterintelligence officials at the Justice Department and FBI knew the previous year that the dossier was funded by the Hillary Clinton campaign, Brennan's fingerprints are all over the Spygate scandal. So Brennan's fingerprints are all over Spygate. Brennan plus GCHQ, Brennan plus Fusion Cell plus Obama briefs, Brennan plus Strzok and ICA, Brennan plus congressional briefings on dossier, Brennan plus Harry Reid pressuring Comey, Brennan plus Nellie Orr, and on and on and on. Brennan is scared. He knows what's coming. And you can see by his tweets, he is in full panic mode. Now, what's very interesting is that there is a call out there, and the call is over Roe versus Wade and abortion. And it seems like Hillary Clinton kicked this all off. Now, we read her tweet once before, but let me read it again. This is January 7th, 2019. Our democracy is broken. House Democrats' first bill, H.R. 1, would help fix it. Call your representative now and ask them to support automatic voter registration, restoring the Voter Rights Act, and lessening the influence of big money in politics. This also led into Hillary going along with Cuomo in New York and pushing abortion rights. This whole thing was kicked off, and that looked like that was the signal. And then since that time, we can see that in Virginia, in Oregon, in New York, which we just mentioned, they're all pushing abortion bills. Now, a video clip of a Virginia lawmaker, Kathy Train, she was out there and she was explaining the bill, and this thing went viral because when she was asked, can you kill the baby at full term, she said, yes, you can. And people were taken back by this, and this started the whole ball rolling. But you can see that they started to push the abortion bills. Now, Virginia governor, he's defending the bill. Oregon governor is supporting universal government visits for all newborns and their parents. I mean, this is getting a little crazy here. So what is happening? Why is there such a push? Why do we see all this happening right now? Well, let's go back a little bit. We know that RBG, she went into surgery. We haven't seen her in a very long time. They said she had pneumonia. She's canceled her engagements in January and February. Donna Brazile tweeted out strange messages about a dog named Boo, who was 12 years old, which is about 84 years old in human life. And Trump hasn't tweeted anything about RBG since December 22nd, 2018, where he said, wishing Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg a full and speedy recovery. But just lately, Trump was being interviewed, and I do believe this was an interview on the Daily Caller, and it went something like this. Trump wished Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg good health and said it was likely the person he nominates to fill the next vacancy on the court would come from his previously released list. I hope that she's healthy. I hope she's happy. I hope she lives for a long time, Trump said. So he's out there telling everyone that he hopes RBG is healthy, she's happy, and she lives for a long time. But he's also saying that he's going to pick a person to fill her position, and it's most likely going to be from the previous list. Now, this is very interesting. If she's healthy, she's going to live a long time, why is he going to choose someone? He wouldn't have to, would he? That brings us back to post 2671. Q said on January 11th, 2019. And remember that Donna Brazile tweeted out on January 19th, 8 days later, about the dog named Boo. And Q says in post 2671, if a woman is selected as the nominee, does that eliminate the wrap-up smear, re sexual assault? What other tactics might be planned to block and or force name removal? Why is the Senate important? Who controls the Senate? 53 to 47. Enjoy the show. So when you start to put all this together and you read what Trump said, that he wished Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg good health and said it was likely the person he nominates to fill the next vacancy on the court would come from his previously released list. Back in January 11th, Q has told us that what happens if a woman is selected. His previous list included a woman, Barrett, and she was religious, Catholic, and they started to write smear articles about her. It looks like Trump might be projecting right now, letting us know what is about to happen.